Greetings, how's everybody?
Good, how are you?
Great, great. Timothy, man, you're on the ball. You're always like one of the first to join and
Hey, competitions drive me, so it's good to have something. It's good to have something to do now that school's over too. So
So school's already over in New Hanover County or just at
just my school, I think. Most of them they either end this week or next week. So I ended last week.
okay. Hold on, we got a couple more. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, see, we got one more person in the waiting room. Let's see who that is. Oh, she's joining. Okay, I think that's everybody for now. That's everybody represented today. Oh, we got another one. Okay, great, great. So I just want to go around real quick. Everybody just say your name and your school district.
Hey, I'm Timothy. I'm from the New Hanover County School District.
I'm Melissa Woods. I'm with E3 Civic High.
Hey, Melissa.
Hi.
I'm Symphony and I'm with E3.
I'm Emily. I'm with LAUSD.
Oh, okay.
I'm Amrita. I go to San Diego Union High School District.
I'm Shauna and I'm from the San Diego Union High School District.
I'm Jeffrey and I go to San Diego High School.
Great. Is that everybody? So, who wants to be ambitious and offer to go first and going over the presentation?
I could go first, although most of my team isn't here, but I'm here for them.
Oh, okay, yeah, no problem. Let me see here. Multiple participants can't share simultaneously. Okay, you should be able to share your screen now. Great.
Yeah, so our team is ID. I'm Emily Perales. My other members, Aiden, Isabella, Daniel, Lonnie, were able to be here because of they had other stuff. Okay, so our statement is there's an estimate of 3.8 million concussions, half going unreported. 69% of players continue playing, and about 40% of coaches didn't know. This long-term concussions can lead to CTE, which they have like physical repercussions you can see on the picture we have there, and then second impact syndrome, which most of the time is fatal. So our product is a piezoelectric lining that is put inside of a helmet. We don't sell the helmet, we only sell the lining. That's our product. We use BMD 380 transceiver to receive voltage from the piezoelectric rubber. That's And then we have a software user interface where we store all of our data for coaches to, it's very user friendly, so the coaches could easily see what players receiving what and like their history. Um, and then how it works. So natural rubber and then MCF, iron oxide nanoparticles, are put together to make the rubber fluid. And then in a rubber vulcanizer, kind of the same process as tires are made, we make it into a rubber lining. And then with the electrical field, with the magnetic field, we're able to make nanoparticle magnetic clusters. And then we apply electric current to be able to, that is how the rubber is able to produce voltage. And that's technically what the rubber would look like, just that is a way smaller amount than what our lining is going to be thicker than what's shown there. And yeah, so this is just how the compression of the crystals through charges are made. So there's a positive net charge on top and then a negative net charge on bottom. And then when compressed, it produces electricity, which is how we're able to receive the numbers of the voltage. And then our user software, it converts those numbers into a chart where by colors, the coach is able to see at what level the player is. And if it's higher, then that means obviously you got to take them out of the game to see how they're doing. If it's lower, then if the coach chooses, the player could continue to play. And then yeah, so through the electronics of the lining, how it works is the BMD 380, it works in networks. So by itself, it doesn't have a long reach, but because every player will be using this lining, the BMD 380 is able to transceive or like it's able to send over information through each player to the coach through a wireless connection of Bluetooth. And that's how the coach on the other end using an iPad or whatever device with
Would the coach be able to, or the medical staff, would they be able to, maybe download it or get notices on their telephones, their cell phones?
Yeah, we're hoping to make it into an app, downloadable on Android and iOS. So whoever has authority over to see this information, they could do it as long as they have authority through the league. I don't know. That's up to the league people. We give out the app, give out the product that they need, like the lining, and then they could decide who's able to see the numbers and who's not. So yeah, so our market analysis, we're hoping to our main market is the youth league sports. In 2026, it's projected to be about $77.6 billion. And then it's a very good market because 70% of the youth accounts for sports-related concussion. It's the highest of all age groups seen in the emergency department. So for our preliminary years, we're going to start off with Pop Warner football players, which are just like young football players, and then we'll move on to high school athletics, and then ultimately we'll move into sporting equipment stores. And then this is comparison with competition. So Hit ID is cheaper than Rido Insight Impact Response, and then Exo Nanoform, which is not even currently out, so they're not. Yeah.
So Rydell is making a similar product.
Yes.
Rydell is the most well-known brand for helmets, huh?
They are our biggest competitor that we know of.
And they actually have this technology?
Yes, it's out, but it's very outdated, and it's not like as high tech as Hit ID would be. So it's the device is it's a little like kind of like, it looks like a walkie-talkie, but not really. It's like it has a really small screen. It's very small, and it's just not as like user friendly as I think any coach would want it to be. So ours would be on an iPad or computer, wherever you would want to download the app. So it's way easier, way cheaper too, 150 versus 210. And then it's also durable and biodegradable. It does not hinder the player, so it's not like bulky. It's like a thin lining goes underneath the football helmet. And then every single hit is located and monitored, whereas with Rydell, sometimes it's very inaccurate. And then Exo Nanoform, it's not inaccurate. So that's like our competition.
So,
Um,
now, so you're saying that Rydell is currently, using something like this? Like, I mean,
uh,
in the
yeah,
NFL?
no, the NFL, they don't want to see how many of their players are getting concussions, so that's why we're not that's why our market isn't the NFL, because they're not interested in seeing how many of their players are being injured, because that would be a problem to their whole.
Wow. So
Yeah.
it's probably something that they don't want to know, which is sad.
Yeah, that's why
So
we're
but
focusing
like
on.
for kids, and you're thinking like high school and Pop Warner.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then so this is our milestone. So our first, we're not going to be making any profit until possibly our 4th year, but for our first year we'll be doing laboratory testing. Oh, okay. And then we'll be seeking partnerships. We're going to trade shows or events like that, and then we'll have simply just 10 units manufactured just to laboratory testing. Second year we'll be doing field testing, which with volunteers or just not with customers yet, because we're still under the works. And then we're gonna start establishing partnerships with, for example, uBlocks, other nanoparticle producers, or even the local Pop Warner president. And then we're doing market research, and then we're gonna have about 100 units manufactured. And then our third year, we'll hopefully start selling to Pop Warner teams, and then we'll have more units manufactured. And then by our 4th year, we hope to be selling in stores and having much more units manufactured by then.
Okay. Have you talked about how, okay, so you gave me your market analysis. Did you tell me how you're actually going to market this product? Like, how are you going to get it out there? You're going to use social media? You're going
Yeah, we're
oh,
planning to hire a SEO team to get our website highly ranked on Google. So it's very we're planning to yeah, market through social media. And then hopefully by the time we have enough publicity, we'll possibly doing brand deals with like popular football players or just athletics.
mhm.
And then hopefully we're just hoping that through the Pop Warner teams, we're able to market through there, where parents talk to each other about this new technology, and more parents would want it for the safety of their own kids. So that's what we're hoping.
Okay.
to happen.
Because I mean, that was a glaring miss. I mean, I don't unless I missed it, you didn't really go into detail to talk about, I mean, you did talk about your market analysis, but you didn't discuss marketing strategy and marketing implementation, how you're going to actually do that.
Yeah, we're hoping to do that with our partnership with the Pop Warner president, hoping that they're able to get our product more out there than just
Okay.
us alone.
Okay, well, yeah, make sure you have a slide that goes into that, because I know that'll be a question. Okay, keep going. I'm going to let you get to the end.
Yeah, and then this is just our budget needs and funding. It's saying all the total costs for everything. So like total compensation, there's like about 2,600,000, and payroll services, it's 186,000. Raw materials is 200,000, rents, and etc. And um yeah, so our retail price will be 150. To create the cost of one unit, it's about $75. So we are increasing the price by about 100%. So that's how we'll be making profit, not in our first 3 years, but hopefully after that.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. I mean, you guys are engineers, and so am I. But you got to know that, Damon's not an engineer, Nick's not an engineer, so you could lose them. I think it's exciting, to hear about nanoparticles and those kinds of things. You just want to the basics. I mean, I know Damon, I know Nick, and their whole thing is going to be is how are you going to make money? Summarize, how are you going to make money? And so you just you said that the cost to make it is $75 and the retail price is $150. That's a very important statement to make, and you need to have that. Do you have that the cost to make in here somewhere?
Oh no, we were hoping just to like speak it or say it in our video.
Yeah.
But we could probably put
Put
it
it
somewhere
here
on the
because
slide.
it's too critical of something to, because I mean, I see kids do this all the time. A lot of times they, they give us real solid business plans. Then in their presentation, they were like, forget to go over, their market, or they don't have a slide for the market analysis, or so that's why I say that's so critical. You want to make sure you have that in your slide.
Okay, thank you. And then our final slide is just a future directions where we could apply this to martial arts, body armor, lacrosse, ice hockey, or cycling, just any sports that has to do with concussions and helmets.
Okay, so go back to the finances, the next slide before this. Okay. Okay, so I'm seeing year one, raw materials, 5,000, 1,500 for sellable products only, and then waste and sealable. So this is not telling the story. You really want to, let me see here. What you want to do is, I mean, you gave a table, and what we ask you to do is, hold on. We ask you to show us a projection, even though you are projecting here. But so like when you say total compensation, you got to give a little more detail for that. So this is, you say total investment spending for 3 years. So is this total combination of the combination for the salary for each year for 3 years is 2.6 million?
Yeah, that's for all 3 years.
Yeah, because investment spending. So what did you do? You summed up that your right column, and that's how you came up with your total investment needed?
We have a separate Excel file chart where we talk about like the chief operator and then like the science operator and all that stuff, and like their salary per year, and then that's how we got our total.
Okay.
I could
So-
try showing that if that'd be better.
Yeah, no, so what we want to see is cost, your base cost, like if you're going to show a table like that, then you could say, create a startup cost table. And you don't want to lump, you don't ever want to lump 3 years together in one. Kind of the policy in doing projections, what you do is you calculate what that base year is. I don't know if you use that spreadsheet that we have in the Business Plan Resource Center. But you really want to show your base year, and then you do a projection up. You can estimate what your third and fourth year is going to be. And I see you, so you did okay, year
This is our total
one.
cost.
You want laboratory testing, seek partnerships, total 10 units, manufacture it, no profit. Okay, I mean, yeah, but you really want to be able to show them, 1 year. We don't want you to add up 3 years and give us a summary of what you spent in salary. What we want to see is, I'd rather see a table that says startup costs, and then you can tell the judges all the money that it would take you to start the business.
So
And
for
then-
our first year, more.
Yeah, to get started, yes. So like, and that, go to the next slide the slide where you had the table. Yeah, so budget needs for funding, what I would call that table is startup costs, and just tell the judges what it's going to take you to, what are your startup costs? You're gonna have raw materials, payroll, rent, clinical, all that stuff, in theory, what you always do is you show them what your base cost is. And then, I mean, you got the projections over on the right, but you still need to give them a starting point. You never want to do a summation of all 3 years because, and then also 3.4 million is a lot of money to ask for investment. So that's gonna, they're gonna frown at that. So I think you guys should go back and look over those numbers some more and come up with a total investment needed, maybe, I don't know, maybe something that closer to, maybe $1 million or less. But I'd like for you guys to do that. And then what I'm going to do next week is every day I'm going to have a call at 7 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So you guys will get a chance to come back on and present and go over it again and let us see what you look like. But other than that, I
Okay,
think, hey, go to the very first couple slides. Go to the first slide.
the first.
Okay. So what would be useful is to have an executive summary slide. And then in that executive summary, you just tell them basically one line, my startup cost is this. We expect to make X amount of dollars in year one, or we don't expect to make money. You give them that summary of what you gave us in the upcoming slides. You summarize that in the executive summary. You tell them up front. And also in that executive summary, you could tell them that, hey, the cost to make this product is $75 and we're going to make it, we're going to sell it at $150. Those are just things that the judges will be able to hang on. And you want to make that executive summary slide, do that and summarize all your results in that slide.
Okay.
All right.
And then, thank you.
And I think you got everything. You didn't talk about your management positions, like who is going to be your president or your CFO and your like each one of the members of your team. You should identify what position they're going to have in the company. So I would also add a slide that talks about the personnel, and you can do that in the beginning, because what we're going to want you guys to do in the beginning is always in the beginning, introduce yourself, say, my name is Emily Perales. I'm a junior at Sherman Oaks High School. In this project, I am going to be serving as the Chief Operating Officer. Boom. You always, that's the first thing you do when you start a presentation. And each one of you say your name, your high school, just like we did in here, school district, like that, and then say what your position is in the company. So I will add an executive summary slide. I would also add a slide that talks about, like your resume, like, a summary of each one of you, and you can have a couple of bullets to talk about, their, whether they're junior, what school year this is for them and what their role is in the company.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but other than that, I think you guys, you're definitely, I think you did a good job. I would just, like I said, this, you guys are engineers and technology is, you just have to make sure that you present like as if they're sixth graders. You know what I mean? You really want to break it down and make it simple to them so that they understand it. All righty. But other than that, I think it's a good job. Okay, anybody, who's next?
I can go next.
Who's that, Symphony?
Yes, that's
Okay, I think you should be able to share still because there you go. Okay, good deal.
Okay, so my solution is called the Add Reminder,
Mhm.
and I use the slogan, the Add Reminder, a way to limit our carbon footprint affordably because helping the environment doesn't have to be complicated.
Go back to the first slide. Okay. A way to limit our carbon footprint. Okay, affordably, helping the environment. Okay, so eco-friendly operation or business. Okay.
So initially I went with less words, but I can definitely put in a little bit more words. I just use visual representations for what I'm saying. But my problem surrounds the climate change, and it's a growing and trending problem to the point where even the president, talks about it, and there's a lot of conflict between it. And scientists have even observed that over 1 million species of animals and plants are at risk due to climate change, hence the dying plant on the left side of the screen. And there are a lot of factors having to do with the increasing effects of climate change, but production is the number one cause. And then another leading cause of it is transportation, which is responsible for 30% of the greenhouse gas emissions released into the atmosphere.
Mhm.
So I decided to relay this information to MTS, which stands for the Metropolitan Transit System. It's the city bus system of San Diego. And I spoke with a bus driver and found out that the average bus driver idles their vehicle for maybe about an hour per workday, which releases an excess amount of gas emissions. And according to him, it is routine for a lot of bus drivers to idle their buses and going for the bathroom break, heating up the vehicle, and other things like that.
Mm.
So MTS is currently using the red bus on the left side of the screen. However, they're trying to change to a electric bus, which does not release as many gas emissions and is a lot more sustainable than what we have right now. However, there are a lot of problems with this. So hypothetically speaking, if MTS decided to implement these buses today and made that final decision, it would take several years for them to be put in place due to the fact that, it requires a lot of space for charging stations. So MTS would have to buy a lot of extra space. And
So this bus on the right is just from another city that is already doing it?
one of the buses that MTS has right now. So they're trying
Oh.
out of right now.
Okay.
There's very few out right now, and you may see them like if you're around San Diego, but a lot of people have never seen them because, like I said, it's very, very few of them out.
Okay.
So the transition to electric buses would take a long time because of the addition to space, and it's just not very cost friendly. One electric bus can be between $750,000 to $1 million, so they cost quite a lot. So there would be a lot of things at risk if the bus was implemented. So my solution to this problem is what is called the Add Reminder. So I don't have a physical prototype, but I did make a prototype in a site called Tinkercad.
Okay.
Basically, the Add Reminder reminds bus drivers to stop idling their buses after a certain amount of time, since I found this to be a problem. And this means that MTS will produce less gas. I find it easiest to compare the Add Reminder to a seatbelt reminder. Maybe you've been in a car where you've sat in the passenger seat or the driver's seat, and when the car
You get it like a chime or something like that? Yeah.
Exactly, that is exactly so.
Okay, yeah. That's so this is for their current buses, something that they can use now to help them limit the carbon that they emit.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So the seatbelt reminder has saved hundreds of lives every year. So we hope that this can have the same effect, but environmentally instead. So basically, when the GPS reads that there is no movement going on and the bus is on, the light at the top will begin to blink. And we also would like to have a auditory reminder as well, just in case the driver isn't paying attention or the driver is not inside the car, like they can still hear. So okay. So the Add Reminder for now I put it at its minimum price to see because I'm not sure exactly what would be the best price. There is no big competition that is affordable. So I honestly could price it up a little bit more and there would really be no competition to compare it to.
And let me tell you that's a good point that you brought, because a lot of times if you have a very innovative idea or concept, you know, in a lot of cases, there is no competition, because you're the first one to, if it's a prototype and it's an innovative, original idea, I mean, you state that. So I don't know if there's anything like this. Is there anything like this in the marketplace? Or you're saying that there is something similar, but it's pricey?
There is nothing similar. I do have a competitor's matrix farther into the presentation, but I did compare the auto reminder to electric buses because I feel as though that's the one thing that pops into people's minds when they think about why this wouldn't be useful. So I do compare it and say why the auto reminder is a very good alternative.
Okay, another thing that I missed that I didn't see is, did you go in and talk a little bit about how much emissions are emitted from buses? So when you say idle reminder, what does that tell them to do? Does it tell them to, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, what if it's a reminder, what does it tell them to do, and how to, and go explain to me again how that reduces what they're emitting into the atmosphere?
So the auto reminder reminds them to not keep the bus on when they're not driving. So like they may keep the bus on when they go to the bathroom and it's not supposed to be on. So while it's on and while, the gas is going, a lot of smoke is coming out, it's going out into the atmosphere. And I do have information specifically about a projection of how much is being let onto the air. So I do have the information, which I did not say earlier, but thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, and so when they get the alarm, what are they to turn the bus off?
Yes, so when they get the alarm, they know best, right? They may have to put it in neutral or they may have to stop it completely. So for example, if there is a long line of people getting into the into the vehicle and they know that they'll be there for like 5 minutes, then the auto reminder may go off to tell them, you're not going to be moving the vehicle for a minute, so you can turn it off so that you're not letting out excess emissions. This could also happen if they're loading a bike onto the front of a vehicle. That takes some time, so they wouldn't have to have it on during that time either, which many times they do.
How do you spell their last name? Yeah. Cahil.
Somebody needs to go on mute, I think. Is that you, Robert?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, okay. So I wonder if, what happens, so I know when buses are in drive, I wonder if putting the bus, put it in neutral during them times, I wonder if it emits less when it's in neutral, because, I'm not, I'm thinking about what happens to, if you keep turning off the vehicle, because that's going to be a strain on the battery, so those are kind of some of the things you might want to flesh out.
There is a time that the GPS doesn't, the auto reminder does not just go off like randomly. There is a time where it is better if the bus is left on than cut on, cut off and cut back on. So there is a time that I did put on the auto reminder, which I will put into the final presentation, just to say, all things weighed in, it's better to just leave it on for now because it may mess up some other things. So yes.
Okay. Well, you definitely need to make that clear, because you don't want to get a question and you haven't done, you're unable to answer it because you haven't done the research. But you definitely, I would love to hear about how much estimated carbon that's emitted to the atmosphere, by buses, or, I don't know if they drill it down to, to one bus. And you want to be able to show that, okay, before they had the idle reminder, installed into that bus, here's the emissions that it emitted. And then you have a before and after, and then you show, okay, after, so you really want to be able to upfront say, by using this device, we'll be able to reduce carbon emissions by 30% on each bus. And if you can say that, that needs to be also, you need, like I told the young lady before, when you start out this presentation, you need to have an executive summary slide that is a summary of the executive summary, the one-page executive summary that you put in your business plan. And you can summarize in there things like, okay, I know you hadn't got to the profits yet, but I mean, you can summarize what you expect your profits to be the first year, or if you think that, hey, maybe the first year you're not going to make money, you're going to break even. I mean, that's very realistic in small businesses, because a lot of times you don't start making money until year 2 or year 3. But you could say that, but you could put that in your executive summary. And if you can, are you able to determine what the emissions would be before and after installation of idle reminder? Because if you're unable to do that, I mean, you can estimate it, but I mean, are you able to determine that?
Yes, based off of the time that I've been given, that is the average idling time per day, and then given the type of gas that they use and all that stuff, I can't estimate how much can be conserved, and I have, but fortunately, I just didn't put it in just for some reason.
Yeah, you gotta upfront, first of all, introduce yourself. Say what high school, what school district, if you want to say something about what you like, your hobby, you say, oh, I like reading in my spare time, because you really want to make a connection to Nick and to Damon. That's why I tell everybody, you always start out. That's why when you start out these workshops, I always have everybody introduce themselves, because you want to have a connection with the judges. And you start out introducing yourself, and if you want to have a slide with a picture of you and some bullets of from your resume, like if you summarize in your resume, hey, I'm GPA of 4.0, I'm a star of the track team, I got this award. You can have a picture of you on a slide and several bullets that pretty much sums you up. You could say you're a junior, and I mean, you can even say your high school. You can put that on the slide if you want to, but I mean, those are kind of things that you don't have to. I mean, what high school you go to, and that'll come pretty easily. But definitely in the beginning, you want to have an intro slide that talks about you. And do you have teammates?
Not that are going to be presenting with me in this competition.
Okay. So, and even in the beginning, so you introduce yourself and say, you're a sole proprietor or what have you. And if you do have other students that are helping you, but they won't be presenting, you want to mention their names in the beginning and what their roles is in the company. And even if you don't have, somebody assigned to be your, I mean, the 3 primary positions in the business is like the CEO, Chief Executive Officer, Chief Operating Officer, and then the Chief Financial Officer. I think those 3 are most critical. And say that out up front. But go ahead. I know I cut you off, but I just wanted to make sure, because at this point I wasn't fully understanding how it works. So I think it's important that you go back and you tell them, okay, that buses are emitting X every year. If we install this idle reminder, put that in your executive summary slide. By installation of this product, we'll be able to reduce. It's very simple. By installation of this product, we'll be able to reduce emissions by 30%, or even if it's 10%. That's beautiful.
Mhm.
So anyway, hey, go ahead.
So I made a graph saying where a lot of the money would be spent. So a large chunk of the money would be spent on buying the material for the auto reminder, and then assuming that the auto reminder takes about an hour to make, it would be 12.9%, and then the markup, I put a 15% markup on it as well. So the material price of the auto reminder plus installation, so the final price of everything once bus company gets a hold of it, should be $100 at the minimum, and I can raise that. I do have to make a projection graph, so that's taking a minute, but I will definitely add that when that's done.
Mhm.
So this is my competitors matrix. So even though the auto reminder does not have a comparable device or service, there's nothing that targets bus idling. There is something that targets climate change in vehicles. So
And that, to me, that's phenomenal. I mean, what you want to be able, but you have to make that clear in the beginning that there's not on the market right now, nothing on the market right now that addresses idle
okay.
island. So you want to put that in your executive summary slide up front. That's another bullet. So you might have four bullets in your executive summary, 4 to 5, or maybe 3 to 5, and that would certainly be one.
Okay. So when I compare the auto reminder to the biggest electric bus system, Proterra's electric buses, something that the auto reminder has that Proterra's electric buses does not have is affordability.
Mhm.
The auto reminder is around $100 to $200, while the Proterra's electric buses is $750,000 to $1 million. The auto reminder can also be installed quickly. It is a small device that can be put in every vehicle. There are about 800 MTS vehicles, so they can be installed into every single vehicle easily, while Proterra's electric buses requires
Mhm.
charging stations, which is the next point that I put. It requires charging stations, and it takes a long time to implement it. So the auto reminder is a little bit more convenient.
Okay, so I think that's good, but one of the things you got to make sure you address now when you uh um when you say that you have a product that is currently not anybody in this market or in this, there's no competition. One of the things you have to address is copycats. So, somewhere in when you show your, you may be making a rack of money in your first couple of years, but it depends on how long it's going to take somebody to. I know you're going to have a patent on it, but somebody will figure out a way to develop something similar that deviates from your patent. So you got to account for later in later years you're going to have more competition.
Okay.
So that could affect your revenue.
So I also included my marketing strategy. So the auto reminder is going from business to business. It's not going to a broad range of customers. It is going to solely bus companies. For now, it's focused on MTS, and I learned that MTS does have a want and kind of like a need to make their bus company a little bit more environmentally friendly. So I did learn that the auto reminder could be appealing to MTS, and I have no idea how this is to other bus companies. There are hundreds of bus companies in the US, but I'm sure that there are other ones like MTS that are interested in making things more environmentally friendly. And also I know that if MTS does implement this, that it can grow, considering San Diego is a very big city. And if they have a need for it, and other bus companies see this and an easy, affordable way to help the climate, then it can
Wow,
spread.
you just gave a real solid rationale for showing that your profits going up, because your strategy probably should be that you would do a pilot of your product with MTS. And then when you start, producing phenomenal results after that first year, then you have data that you can market to other major cities and other major bus companies. So maybe in your first year, you do a pilot in San Diego, and then you could say after the first year we're going to reduce results, and we'll be able to have documented real hard data that shows how this device helped the bus companies reduce emissions, and then you could integrate that data into your marketing plan.
So next I included the next steps just for the auto reminder, and how to make it a little bit more advanced. So I said that the external design, if that is something to change, if that is something that the bus company says they want to change, whether they want to make the design of the actual device more flashy, or if they want to make it more conservative in the fact that it's not distracting to the driver while it's not on, then that is something that can change. Also, I do want to add an auditory reminder, maybe set a light reminder at first, and then if the bus driver does not respond, then an auditory reminder can come after, just to make it more susceptible to listen to. I do recognize that the number one thing that can hold the auto reminder back from being successful and being making an impact is human response. So if the bus drivers don't respond to the auto reminder, then it will have no impact. So I have to make it as noticeable as possible to increase that human response. And then lastly, if the auto reminder did become a lot more popular and the auto reminder was recognized by other bus companies, I think that it could be something that can go from being sold solely from businesses to businesses to being something that can be sold to individuals. Climate change is a growing problem that a lot more people are interested in, and even one of the world's most biggest entrepreneurs, Elon Musk, has even set out a super big prize to anyone who can pull effects of climate change from the air. So there are big entrepreneurs who are interested in this the problem of climate change and coming up with a solution to it. So because cars are the number one vehicle on the streets, if more cars used it, you're going into the store, maybe you're going to go pick something up and you leave your car on, things like that, the auto reminder could have an exponential impact. So that is something that I said could be the final.
And then also, once you market it here domestically in the US, you could also then expand into global markets.
Yes.
So, that's something that you could show, once you do that, then, in maybe year 4 or whatever, you might want to definitely show 5 years in your projection in this case, but like I said, a minimum of 3, but in your situation, you have to really be able to kind of, present, okay, the first year, you're going to get out the box, you're going to try to move fast and try to make as much money as you can before there is copycats. And, but your patent is definitely going to be something that's going to reduce some of that competition, because they're going to have to be able to design something that operates differently, because they won't be able to use your design but competition is strong. They got good lawyers, and they can find ways to get a product on the market that's similar to yours.
And that concludes this presentation for now. Thank you for listening.
Okay. One of the things that's not required, but but a SWOT, like you guys know what a SWOT analysis is?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe a slide that just has a table. You could just summarize what your strengths, a couple of bullets, what your strengths are, and then what you think the weaknesses are, and then if there's any threats. And, you know, we've already talked about what the threats are going to be. Threats are going to be copycats and emerging technology and those kinds of things. And then opportunities. So it's going to be strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So that's always good too. I mean, those are the kind of things that, you know, I forgot to mention that, Emily, in your presentation. Are you still there, Emily?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, yeah, it's always good, you know, to have a SWOT analysis there. You know, so you could just summarize again. You can reinforce to those judges what your strengths are and how you really feel like you're going to be able to dominate the market and you're going to beat out your competition. So.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, we can get started on someone else. I mean, we'll probably go over a little bit, but and then also I want to offer tomorrow, Saturday. I mean, I'm free all day. So if anybody want to email me and say, hey, you know, we want to you know, go over our presentation, I'm open. You know, that's one of the things we always do in these competitions. If you want help, we're here to provide it, because we want you to do well. We want you to do well. I mean, you guys are going to be presenting before two of probably the most successful two of the most successful entrepreneurs of this generation. And I can confidently say that about Damon and Nick. So anyway, anybody else prepared to go over theirs?
Yeah, my team can go.
Who's that?
Amrutha.
Oh, okay.
But the bulk of it, I was wondering if you get your input on it. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So like it's still in the making. It's not completely done.
Okay,
But,
that's not a problem. I mean, it's always good to what I try to do is put pressure on you guys to try to get your presentations done and your business plans done early, so that you can have your presentation done in enough time. Because I'm gonna tell you, in these competitions, practice makes perfect. And so no problem. Like I said, if you're not all the way through, you know, we can go over it now. You guys can shoot me an email and say, you know, if I get enough people, you know, I'll schedule another Zoom link, and you know, or if it's just one team, I'm available all day tomorrow. So feel free, you guys, if you need help, just shoot me an email, and we'll schedule it for you.
thank you so much for offering.
All right.
We will probably take you up on that. But like this is kind of the concept of our company. So it's called Planning Planners, and it's about creating these customizable planners. So we're still working on
Customize what now?
Customizable planners, like where you write out, I guess, everything you're gonna do in a day.
Okay,
that sort of
okay.
thing. So
Like,
people
for this
can
would be
work-
good for like executives, you know, I guess anybody, students.
Yeah.
Okay, now is this digital or?
No, it's like physical. So it'll be an actual planner, and you'll have the opportunity to like customize it. And so we'll get into that in like later slides. So yeah. So this is kind of our team. This is
Great.
everyone is on the team. So
Great. So you guys, so you do that in the beginning. I love it. You got pictures. You know, that to me, when you start out in the beginning, you got an organization chart, you introduce yourselves. I mean, that looks, I mean, it shows confidence. And I can't overemphasize, guys, when you first start out, to make sure. All right, Melissa, you taking off? Yeah. Yeah, so this is a good example here.
thank you. So this slide is like in progress. It's not going to be our final one, but this is just kind of some notes we were taking. So like essentially the whole problem around this idea of like planner waste is that usually per year the average office worker generates a substantial amount of waste. So it's over 10,000 sheets of office paper, and that's usually print mistakes, junk mail, handouts, billing reports, presentations, packaging, mixed paper products. So like it's insane amount of waste. And usually planners include like plastic covers or laminated covers. And in general, US citizens create 35.7 million tons of plastic waste per year.
Mhm.
And in general, planners are incredibly useful. So they increase productivity, they maximize work time. But the problem is people don't usually use them because they're inconvenient. The way that they're set up now, usually they're
Mhm.
bulky, they're tacky, and they're extremely expensive. And usually if you don't start on the very first day of the year, or like if you don't start within the first month, the whole planner is pretty much useless because you're not getting the whole value out of your money.
Mhm.
So I guess the entire Shauna, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, sure. So the problem that we identified in other planners is that, as Amrita stated, they don't begin at or they often begin at the very beginning of the year. So if like you want to start in like mid-year, you're gonna
Mhm.
waste like a lot of paper. So this was our solution, and it benefits the customer because it wastes less paper and money because of less paper used, and also because our planners are about like $8 cheaper
Mhm.
than other customizable planners. And then other general customer benefits would be being able to customize the cover and the inside designs for like for like students or parents or teachers, depending on their needs, which would also lead to more productivity.
So kind of like a model of how I guess the prices would increase is like you have the basic model where it's just like very elegant basic color models, like basic
Mhm.
colors, and you can adjust the start date and just functional basic fonts. And if you pay a little bit more, you'll get like pattern covers, a wider array of fonts. You get like text and framing on the cover, customizable interior. And then with the premium version, you get importable photographs, embossed cover, like metallic lettering like gold and silver. And then you can also
Mhm.
get professional input on your final design and custom fonts and stuff.
Okay.
Alia, you want to talk about the business model?
Yeah, so we're planning to make our company a S Corp so we can avoid double taxation, and we also can ask for IRS's permission for our desired fiscal year. And our key partners include the recycled paper company and the eco-friendly packaging company, and finally the printing company. And
Mhm.
also our key activities are just making our planners very customizable and pretty and recyclable. And yeah, our customer relationship is self-service because we already provided all the resources. And the customer segments, like we mentioned before, is just for generally people in school and also parents, so they can keep track of their kids' extracurricular activities and their own lives and jobs.
Mhm.
And our distribution channels will be both in web stores and in retail stores, because from our survey, we found out that a lot of people wanted to purchase our products from retail stores so they can actually see our products.
Mhm.
And the key resources that we are in need of are personnel to design really customizable and pretty planners, and the money that's needed for hiring them. And the
Mhm.
cost structure is, so we need a lot of money for the personnel and the researching and developing part to make our web store better, and also to maybe to search up how to make the packaging more eco-friendly and
Mhm.
to market our products. Yeah.
And so the opportunity, self-protection, customer profile, it's all still in, like the slides are still in progress, but like I can talk about it. So basically, it's part of the stationery industry, and the global market size of that, it's being valued at about 90.6 billion in 2018. And so expected compound annual growth rate at 5.1%. We're
Mhm.
probably going to be mainly part of the subcategory, the hobby and stationery industry. And in 2019, that was 113 million worldwide, and it's predicted to grow at an annual rate of 8.6%. And the market volume is
Did you mean to
projected.
say million or billion?
Oh, I don't know. I think I need to like double check my stats again, but
Were you, were you referring to dollars or quantity?
Dollars.
Okay.
But here, so the market volume is projected to be at $157 million by 2023. So additionally, we fall under the following subsets in the industry: the appointment books and paper planners, micro industry, personalized stationery market. So in the United States in 2016, appointment books and paper planners, they were about $342.7 million in revenue, which is a 10% increase from the previous year. So again, in this entire personalized stationery market, which I outlined here, these are all like the primary key regions. The revenue is expected to grow at a rapid rate, and it's anticipated to perform well because of growing demand from consumers. And depending on the type, paper products are anticipated to grow at the fastest compound annual growth rate ever. So it's attributed to basically the rising consumption of diaries, calendars, multifunctional papers. And so this is kind of all the key regions. And typically planners and calendars sell the most in the first few months of the year. And since we have customizable dates, we don't have the same issues that regular planner companies have. Like we don't have just the once a year income, we have year-round income. And so like once we release gifting options and notebooks and sketchbooks, we'll be able to tap into bulk sales instead of just single product sales. These are competitors. Shauna, do you want to talk a little bit about them? We're not completely done with the chart, but yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Wait, hold on. Okay, so unlike most of our competitors, we're eco-friendly, and we're actually not only is our paper recyclable, but we are partnering with the One Tree Planted organization, and Maria kind of made this, but we're donating a certain percent to this organization so they can plant more trees. I'm not really sure about professional input freezers. I think Amrita suggested that, but for personalized stickers, none of our competitors are doing a thing where you can customize different quantities of like activity stickers. For example, one person may exercise more often than another person, so they may order more of that sticker, and then a lot of like so like less stickers will be wasted because a lot of the time about like half of them are. Yeah.
The professional input for users, I only found one other competitor that also did that. So I don't think nobody else does that. So it's like customers have the option to do whatever design they choose and also make sure that it's feasible and it will look good as a physical product. So yeah. And then moving on to the market penetration method. So these are kind of like the preparation steps. So 0.5A, which is like, I guess the first prep step is setting up the website. And that involves like choosing the domain name, ensuring there's no copyright infringements, choosing the web host, building pages, establishing open source software and e-commerce platforms, testing and publishing the website, maintaining site and regular updates. And then this is like the trade show. And we were planning on doing the Paper World trade show in Frankfurt, Germany. And so that has like international attention, and it would cost $7,500 because it also includes the media package, which is actually very expensive, but we probably won't need to do that in later years. This is kind of like our debut into the industry. So the first like official step is creating advertisements. So filming video ads to be played on various platforms like Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. And then stylized photographs of our products. So those go on Instagram or pop-ups in Google or Etsy. And also like
Mhm.
putting up physical flyers once COVID dies down near like stationery stores and stuff.
Mhm.
And then here it's the second step is promoting our website and social media pages through our press release. We already wrote one, and also search engine optimization, pay-per-click advertising. And then this is the longest step, but probably the most rewarding one. So it's crafting an online presence through social media. And basically that involves establishing a posting schedule and who the posts are catering to, like prospective customers, industry players, influencers, and then making content based on visuals. So like team
Mhm.
photos or videos, photos of customers, photos of events or charity work, behind the scenes photos and videos, infographics. Ensuring that our social media page has a personality, because we want our customers to know who we are and what we believe in instead of,
Mhm.
you know, just having being a faceless corporation. And so we want to engage our followers in discussion, like answering questions and building up relationships beyond the screen, create quality customer care, keeping an eye on everything that going on in the digital space regarding our company and just crafting content specific to that, and integrating all of our socials into the website so they're very easily accessible.
Okay.
So 4A and B is just collaborating with influencers, paid and unpaid campaigns. So that involves a lot of steps, but like I might take a while to go through all of them. But okay, so basically unpaid campaigns involves like reaching out to micro influencers or social media influencers who work with a smaller audience or like who might be willing to collaborate without pay, determining how each party will benefit, or building brand awareness through their social media, adjusting agreements depending on analytics and data. So some of the prospective influencers we were thinking of were Joy San, who does sketchbook episodes, and Fran Menzes, who does art supply review.
Mhm.
And so collaborating with influencers paid campaign, we were thinking scope out the best influencers to promote our product instead of just getting someone who promotes everything, getting someone who actually promotes things they believe in. So
Mhm.
performing influencer analysis, so just engagement rate, engagement metrics, sending them PR packages, product seeding. So just making our outreach personal. So getting them to actually love the product so they'll properly like promote it. So we were
Mhm.
kind of thinking Lore DIY, who does artsy lifestyle content, Karina Garcia, who does DIY and crafts, and Lavender, who does personal growth and lifestyle design. And then the last two steps in our market penetration method is just building relationships with local customers, tapping into local markets, just generating a stronger bond with local customers, developing relationships with local business that are kind of adjacent to our industry. So like event planners, printers, bridal shops, that sort of thing. And then our last step is sub-niche marketing. So just creating spin-offs for adjacent markets to the stationery industry, just adapting to future markets, developing products that involve with the customer base. So yeah. So this is our entire budget for the market penetration method.
Okay.
And then these are like our financials, revenue models, and just business balance sheets over the next 3 years. So these are, this is our gross profit. So cost of goods sold, each planner costs about $5 to make. Gross profit in the first year is 1 million, total expenses are this much, and then the net profit would be this. And then the same thing for previous years. So as you can, or like continuing years. So as you can see, the net profit just keeps growing. And if you look at our balance sheets, you also see that our equity continues to grow as we put back our retained earnings or like our profits from the previous year into the future year. So our equity keeps growing. So yeah, we have total assets to liabilities, and so they're here. And then investments, Maria and Shauna can talk about that.
So our investment opportunity is $1,115,000, which is the same as our SBA loan amount. And can you go to the next slide? Yeah, we're willing to give out 12% equity for that amount of money because based on our paper product industry's EBITDA multiple, we calculated that we can give out 15% equity. However, we believe that our company has enough potential and that giving out 12% is already well worth the amount of money invested in the first place.
And then we calculated 5 years into the future, and we calculated that our return on investment would be $2,230,000.
Mhm.
And then that was, I think it was 15% of our total 5-year returns.
Okay.
I think we're still working out use of funds, but Shawnette was talking about how like the research, we're basically going to include research and development, advertising,
Yeah.
marketing, and inventory. Yeah, and then Maria could talk about the SWOT analysis.
Mhm.
So our strengths include our originality because we're the first company to do both recycled and customizable planners. The
Mhm.
other companies only have either recycled or customizable. And also our other strength is that we're very light because our planners are made out of recycled paper, so it will be very easy to carry. And
Mhm.
also our selling locations include both online and in retail stores. So
Mhm.
most planner companies only do either one. So doing both is going to attract more people to buy our planners.
Mhm.
And our weaknesses include our inexperience because we never started a business before. And also that our planners are a bit more expensive than non-recycled planners. So our opportunities include that our spin-offs are stationary products such as checklists and notebooks. So we can reach out to larger markets. And another opportunity is that there's a growing demand in sustainable and green products because we can see that from the market that evaluation projection that the green products segment is growing a lot bigger.
Mhm.
And our threats include that this market is already pretty saturated, as you heard in the beginning that the stationery industry already has 9 point something billion dollars. And also that in recent years, there's more digital apps
Ah,
designed.
I know you're gonna get that question from the judges about, you know, how do you overcome, the digital market? So be prepared to talk about that, and even you might want to have a transition period where you start out with an actual recyclable planner, and then maybe in year 3 or something, maybe you are able to convert to something digital, and then that way you're paperless, totally paperless.
Yeah, I was thinking of bringing in like that, the similarity between digital apps and planners that are similar to like digital books and actual paper books, because some people just like using paper products better because
Oh
it
yeah,
just, yeah, they just,
absolutely. I know a lot of folks like that. Like, they like to have a physical planner that they can pull out and go through it and write on it and write notes and do that kind of thing. I really think that you really need to bring that home, because I think your biggest threat is going to be digital platforms. But in the beginning, you guys have time, to really kind of work through one of your slides in the beginning. Maybe you need an executive summary slide, and you might be able to say, our biggest threat is, tell them up front. What you want to do, you always want to try to anticipate what they might ask, and then you turn it around and you give them a question. You say, hey, when we start this out, our target market is going to be people that, that have a tradition, that we've determined that, there's millions of people out there that still likes having a physical planner. So we're going to do that in the first couple of years, and You know what I mean? But I see that as certainly, particularly right now in the digital place. Next thing too, I'm just already giving you some feedback before I forget. But in some cases, I think you had too many slides. Like you gave us a step by step. What was it 6 steps in your marketing? Okay, if you could somehow summarize that and put all 6 steps on one slide, if that's possible, just like where you had the SWOT analysis, where you have it broken up into 2 slides. I would try to figure out how to way to get that on. Now I know that I said that the presentations can be unlimited, but at the same time you don't want to lose them. If you have an opportunity to summarize things like your SWOT analysis and keep that on one page, your marketing strategy, and if you're able to summarize that and put that on one slide, I think it will be better, because you want them to think about, while they're looking at your strengths and your weaknesses, you want them to be also looking at your opportunities and threats at the same time. So like, the risk you take is by breaking them up into 2 slides, they might have forgot what you said your strengths are. And then they're going to laser in on your threats. So what you want to do is always, when you list your strengths, make sure you have more bullets. You list more bullets in terms of what your strengths are, and
Okay.
and be able to do that. Also, in your finances, where you did your revenue projections and your balance sheets, always use a graph. Always use a graph. I mean, I know you got them in tables. It's very simple to put that on a simple graph that you can project for year 1. You can have a line going for your gross profit. You got a gross profit line, you got a total expenses line, and then you got a nonprofit line. And the main thing you want to show is that your profit, your gross profit, is going to exceed your expenses. I mean, and you can see that when you can look at that and see it, but it's 1,000 times more powerful if you could put that in a graph.
Okay.
I would clearly, because you'll lose them by making it like a table. And then you also you don't even have, like, if you use a table format, like for like your startup costs and stuff like that, you definitely want to put lines in that table. You know what I mean? That, like, you kind of create a table, but graphs. Let me see that balance sheet. Okay, total assets. Okay, so let me see, your assets are going up, your liabilities are going up, of course, and your equity is going up. Yeah, same thing here. Find somebody, and I tell everybody, another beauty about getting your presentation done as soon as you possibly can, because then, you could take some time to go back and start making it look a little more jazzy. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to spend time trying to make your presentation jazzy when you haven't really taken the time to spend the time on making sure you got the information that's going to help you win this competition. You know what I mean? So everybody should always have that mentality that, I'm going to win this competition. and so I would certainly try to condense some of the words. And then also, I'm hoping you guys aren't going to be reading from note cards or a screen or anything like that when you do the presentation, because that's always, folks that are really prepared, they study each slide, they try to reduce it, it to as fewer slides as you can, but at the same time, you make sure you have that executive summaries slide in the beginning. No, where you got a beautiful slide in the beginning where you kind of introduce who you are. That should be your first slide, where you introduce yourselves, and each one of you should say who you are, when you do the recording, you know, kind of what we do, your mission, your SWOT out, your competition analysis, your marketing strategy, your financial forecast, and then your management operation. You already summarized your positions, but so you guys will just have to have 1-page resumes. Yeah, go back. Let me see those. Go back to one. You got 6 steps. Yeah, I think
Oh,
you can.
sorry, sorry.
Yeah, you got 5B. Now, can you possibly put this in a table?
Yes, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, see if there's a way that you could put that in a table. And also, like I said, you want the judges to be able to see all the steps where they're looking at, and they can see all the steps. You don't want to have to go to one step and it's on a different slide, and then they forgot about the steps you went over on this previous slide.
Okay.
But like I said, the next thing too is, you know, if you got, were you guys planning to use these notes? I see you got notes, footers, and note cards or something.
These are like presentation notes, but when we're actually presenting, it'd be like this. It'd be full screen. It wouldn't be showing the notes. So, wait, sorry.
Okay, so when you do your recording, your 5-minute presentation, show the judges that you know the material, you know. And like I said, I know that what I like to do when I do presentations, sometimes I'll put more words on there than necessary, because you know, sometimes you get up there and you might have a brain freeze, or or you get nervous. Sometimes it's good to have, you know, more text on the slide than not, because then if you get stuck, you can always look at the slide. But the thing is, you want to be looking into the camera, you know, and establishing, because what we're going to do, you know, make just clear to everybody, we're going to be playing your 5-minute, for the top 5 teams, we'll be playing their presentation, and then you guys will have to be available there to answer questions after we play your 5-minute presentation, because it's too risky to expect everybody's Wi-Fi to be working perfectly on that day and and all that. So we're going to make sure that we're just in a building that has real solid Wi-Fi, and then we'll play the presentation. So you only got 5 minutes, and you want to make sure. So that's what I would do. I would try to condense this presentation as much as you can, and then you know, learn the, you know, the information, so that you're not relying on those notes.
Okay.
but in the beginning, to also make it clear that because I remember I used to love having and carrying my planner with me back when you know, I used to carry briefcases, and I'd have my planner in there. I like to open my briefcase and go through my my planner and taking notes and that kind of thing. There's a lot of you know, kind of traditional folks that still think that way, and there's a lot of folks that prefer having a planner. And you say it's customizable. So what do you mean by customizable? Like they can have their name or something engraved on it, or?
Yeah, so that means like you can choose whatever cover you want. You can change the inside of it. Like you can put like the inside, it can change whatever to whatever you need. Like you can put something in where it says like, oh yeah, today's quote of the day or something, or to a weekly goal.
Yeah.
Or like whatever they need. And you can customize colors, you can customize fonts, you can bring in pictures, like put in like photographs onto the cover. Like there are lots and lots of things you can do.
So to do that, like online, if they ordered in line, they'd be able to like you know, say what they want, and you guys will have options. Like if you say you sold this on Amazon, somebody went and they wanted to order, and they you know, they wanted their name, I guess they'll be able to do that. So so is it gonna Is it gonna take them longer to get it if they order it? Of course, it's gonna take a little longer if they want something customized.
Mhm. So essentially what we were thinking is we have our own site set up like for like them to customize whatever they want. So they'll have like standard planners and then I get like the, I guess like the basic model that are there. And then so like on the website, if you click on the different customization options, it'll like upgrade you to like medium or premium, and then you can change whatever you want to change. And based on whatever your final product is, it'll give you a quote. And so that's how, and then when you order, it'll be shipped to you. So that's kind of like the entire thing. So when we were saying that it's going to be put in retail stores like Walmart or Target, that would be like the basic kind. It wouldn't be
The standard, yeah.
customizable. Yeah.
Right. Okay, gotcha. Okay, but like I said, once again, I think everybody that presented, everybody have some really good ideas. I just don't want, we like I said, in past competitions, we've had so many folks that have had really good ideas, but they just didn't put in the work. They didn't put in the work, and in their business plan, and it shows when they submit it that they didn't really do much market research, and it's not 10 pages, it's 7 pages. It's evident that they just didn't do the work. And one of the things that the judges will be able to tell off top is if you guys have done the work, because I'll be scoring and 2 more judges your Word, your 10-page Word document and your PowerPoint that you submit. I'll be scoring those. Now the video that you submit, the judges, so you get another score from Nick and Damon. And I'm telling you, every single time the presentations, and in some cases, somebody may have been in 4th place, but they gave such a phenomenal presentation. They showed that they knew the material. They just had a good idea, and the judges were just so overwhelmed by it that they awarded them 1st place. So that's why I just say, make sure that, if you got, I would condense this a little bit, if you can make certain things and make a table and make graphs. People love graphs because then they don't even really have to look at the numbers. They could just see that curve going up, and they can say, okay, so you're planning. They can see from your curve, they can see where you're going to start, what year you're going to start making money, and so graphs and bar graphs. And like I said, be resourceful. If you guys aren't really good at doing graphs, find somebody out there. You could, even you need to hire somebody. I'm just saying, we don't care about that. As long as you do the work, you have the material, you can use any kind of support you need in putting together a really powerful presentation. So, but anyway, so I think I've given you guys, some pretty good stuff. You got the management operations, you got the SWOT, and you have everything. You just need to add that executive summary up in the beginning, which really executive summary with bullets, which you could summarize. Hey, we don't expect we're going to make profit. You this much profit. You could summarize your profits in your executive summary in a sentence. We're going to make 41,000 the first year, 239,000 the second year, and 7. That's a short sentence. You can have that bullet in your executive summary, and then because you want to get their attention. And then I will also address in that a bullet in your executive summary on why you feel like in your first couple of years that you're going to be you're going to beat digital platforms, and to say that you got there, you've determined that there's a market of people that prefer, and it might be older people from old school people, that they came up in an era where they use physical planners, but there's certainly a market for it. But you have to make it clear to your judges that you're targeting that market, because that's the first thing they're going to ask you is, what about digital?
Okay.
So and anticipating that what I would do in the executive summary, address it in your executive summary, and you might be able to put it to bed. You know, if you address it in that executive summary, then they may not even ask you about it. So
Thank you so much for all of the feedback. It's been so helpful.
yeah, absolutely. And if you guys like, we got 3 done today. And it was there anybody else on the call that wanted to present and that didn't, because I can make sure we either schedule some time maybe tomorrow, or I'm definitely gonna do workshops on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday and Thursday next week. But by Thursday, I mean, you guys probably should be already recording your video if you hadn't already, because you know they're all due on next Friday. Well, I think everybody on here now, they did get a chance to present, so.
Yeah. Sorry, I just had like one more question. So you said that the judges would be scoring the PowerPoint presentation and the Microsoft Word document, right? So I was
Mhm.
just wondering what happens if you say something in your video, like you say it, but you don't put it on the slide? Would we get marked down? by the
No, not
judges?
at all, not at all. You want to, you know, like for example, if you do your video, and you have your video done on Thursday, and you know you're working on final touches on Friday, and you discover something very important, or that's a good question, and you discover something that you wanted to add to that presentation, and you didn't add, I mean, one of the things you could do is put it in your business plan, and then you can make sure that, okay, once we play your video, if it's really compelling, when they ask you a question, take that time to say, hey, there's one thing that we wanted to make sure that we convey to you, and that is XYZ. And you can say it while you're answering a question.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All righty. Well, you guys enjoy your Friday. Like I said, anybody decides that they want some more help, or you guys can polish up your presentations, and then maybe on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday next week, you can present it again and get it tightened up a little more. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for all of your feedback, and have a great night. Bye.
Okay, you guys too. All right. Okay, bye-bye.
How many people's in this competition so far?
It's hard, people, I don't really know that number right now. I think it's about 20 teams so far.
Wow.
It's gonna be competitive, but I'm telling you, just don't worry. I mean, I think there's a lot of folks that I'm gonna tell you, by coming to these workshops, I'm telling you, you guys know what the judges are looking for. And there's a lot of folks that have missed these workshops. Like, we got Miami District, they haven't been to any, we got a district, and I'm telling you, then they can have, a very phenomenal plan and presentation, but if they didn't follow our guidelines and they didn't follow our scoring system, and they don't hit on the points that we asked you to hit on, then they're not going to do well. So like I said, the folks that are participating and coming to this workshop are always the ones at the end that do the best.
Oh, I see. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thanks again. Y'all have a good weekend.
You too. Bye.